कैमरा टेस्ट वाले रूम में कैमरा है।
अरे लेकिन कौन
So guys, we are about to teach.
मैं ऋषभ को नहीं किया है। पवित्र।
आर्या पाटिल इधर क्या
कैसे करते हैं ब्रो बताओ।
So gang signs, yes.
कोई कैसे मत कर
ये
क्या कर रहा है तू?
मैंने नहीं किया।
शक्ल दिख रही है।
पता है।
दिख रही है शक्ल दिख रही है। वो देख।
क्यों कर क्यों?
We are going to teach about Cristiano Ronaldo.
सुई। सुई।
इसको इंस्टा में डालेगा मैं अभी निकाल के। हार्ट के साथ में ना?
एक ऐसे लगता है। सीवी।
Oh! Cristiano Ronaldo.
सुई सुई।
अरे पहले तो तेरी शक्ल दिख चुकी है। मैं इसमें वीडियो निकाल के इंस्टा पे डाल देगा। स्टोरी क्लोज फ्रेंड की। So,
ओ बेटा जी, अरे ओ बाबूजी।
ए मैं ये रहा है 15 का है।
हाँ
ये ना
जी।
पानी।
वो वही तो पानी है यार।
इसके अंदर पानी भी होता है।
गैराज में नहीं है भाई।
मैंने भी इसके साथ करता है।
सही है वो।
ब्रो वो तो
मेरा मैसेज नहीं करेगा ये।
Best case to cover. I think the dressing sense is cheap for most of them.
मेरे को भी दिखा।
Let me say.
कोई कर रहा।
Latinas.
ये तो चालिए भाई। इंसान को जिस चीज होता है वायरल क्या होता है? बजट है। ये अलग ही दुनिया है। अच्छा से।
Latinas.
राजस्थान का।
सच में
राजस्थान के।
But आपको क्या अच्छा लगता है? Latinas अच्छा लगती है।
लड़की तो
Brown वैसे।
तो ये बोलते हैं
क्या होता है?
एबोनिक्स।
नहीं एबोनी अलग होता है। एबोनी पूरा ब्लैक होता है। हाँ सच्ची देख दिखा दे।
चुप नहीं देख रही है।
इसके साथ ये सब चीजों में बस ऑपरेशन करना ही चीज नहीं है। इतना तो ही करते हैं। बड़ी ऐसे होते हैं ये बड़ी होता है
मतलब ये है
हाँ।
आंसर है
नहीं नहीं
क्या है
जेंजीज जेंजी का थोड़ा लैटिना सा जैसे थोड़ी
नो ऑन
अरे मतलब अब इंडियन ब्राउनर्स
जल्दी समझ
सबको दिखा वो कैमरा में दिखा रहा है सबको कैमरा में दिखा
पता लगा लैटिनास दिखा
सेंसर
ये लैटिना इंजन
ये कलर
या
एकदम बाइंडिंग का ब्राउन
क्या है तू वो भी सच है
हाँ
चौड़ा ले तू चौड़ा लेगा भाई
अभी अनसेंसर्ड दिखाऊंगा
ये करना तुझे
हाँ
इसलिए करके बैठा है
आज ही नहीं आया
आज भी नहीं
ये मैं नहीं था
यार ये है
नहीं
अरे आया लास्ट वीक पूरा फर्स्ट टाइम
अनसेंसर्ड
यार मेरे को 10 8 मिनट नहीं आता 80 नहीं आता ये पूरा सेंचुरी में नहीं आया तू अपना में पूछते तू कौन है पहली बार देख रहा हूं दिलाए हो
इतना मैंने छोड़ दिया कि अभी कोई नहीं आएगी
ईश्वर ने छोड़ा नहीं आई
आई थी
पढ़ाई
नहीं मार्क्स के टीचर है ना
वहां से कुछ पहले ऐसे पेपर से थोड़ी नहीं चली गई मैंने उसने
क्रिकेट मैच को दिया नहीं
तो इधर आ रहे थे नहीं
हां दरवाजे का आवाज है साइकिल भी
देख रही हूँ सर को भी
तो मम्मी का गुस्सा हुई तुम्हारे में मैं तो उठा चांदनी को उसके बाद मेरे को कभी नहीं आया कैसे
मैं क्वेश्चन तो तुम्हारी के 2 मिनट पहले आई
और मम्मी को लगी मैं झूठ बोल
मैं बोलता हूँ
मम्मी बोलती तू नाइट फेल हो गया
नहीं फेल नहीं हुआ
ए 53 मिला है टेंशन में भाई काफी है
मुझसे ज्यादा मिला है
शरण कर
एक दिन पहले
से भी
आया
ज्यादा मिला है
मेरे से
32 है तेरा 33
एक मार्क्स मेरा का नहीं है जो तो चांदनी की बात चल रहा है ना चांदनी मैम बोल रही
इज्जत से
चांदनी मैम बोल रहा ना
इज्जत से
चांदी
छोड़े इज्जत
क्या बोलता है यार
छोड़े इज्जत
तूने
में
बोला चांदी के पास जाता है सीधा
चांदनी मैम क्यों बोल रहा है
चांदनी बनाई तो चांदनी में से आवाज
हाँ
मैम नहीं
हो गया खत्म हां चंद्र और आना चाहिए
अच्छा बना दिया
चंद्र काय कर रही मार लेता हूं
इधर लोग को जो इसको पूरा टाइम पीछे
सारे ये छोड़ी कभी निकाल ले इजी का टाइम आई नहीं ये है
क्या ब्रो क्या सीरियस क्या
अभी वैसे भी आते हैं
ओम भी पहन के रखा
पर लेट नहीं गया
ओम तो भाई
बेचारा ने अपने फालतू लोगों का नाम क्यों ले रहे हैं
हां तेरे को नहीं पता कैसा लगता है तुझे
सबसे तो बाप लोग रहते हैं
दलित सही
पहले मतलब
दलित तो लोअर क्लास
दलित
अभी आप आईफोन मारा निकला था तो तेरा पहले लोअर क्लास में करता था
नहीं दलित
अरे वो झूठ वो एक लाइन के आगे में चलो एक लिया सुई
बट वो आराम है
बट ना
इसका मतलब तो मैं करते हैं
चलो ये पढ़ा करेगा एक हाथ चाहिए
नहीं उस दिन जब पीछे
लोग हमारा ना
ये
इसकी आप मेरे को मौका मिला सवाल ऐसा नहीं था
वो क्या तेरे से कुछ बात करना
हाँ
मेरे से
हाँ क्या आगे कुछ पता भी नहीं
पता है सब पता है
क्या
स्टार्टिंग से सब पता है
एक्चुअली सब
मेरे को भी सब पता है
तेरे को कुछ नहीं पता है इसका एक्चुअली कुछ नहीं पता
ये सीवियरली नहीं पता है जो
देखो देखो
हाँ
और इसको पता है
थोड़ा स्टार्टिंग का मालूम है
मुझे तो मोस्टली पता है ना
हाँ।
स्टार्टिंग आइडिया भी देश को लगता है क्यों होता है क्यों होता है तो क्या होता है पहले
कि वो नीरज
भाई दुकान को बैठे
मैं तो
और ये क्या है हुडी क्यों पहना है तो ठंडी गर्मी नहीं होती है तो शर्ट क्यों पहने थे
सोचो हुडी के अंदर
तो
टी-शर्ट
सेम ही होता है हुडी शर्ट बचपन बस वो होता है ना फिर
चटनी है ना
टीचर है ये
नॉर्मल टीचर है
गार्डन नहीं गार्डन एक ही है
गावड़े में बहुत इरिटेट करता है
ये तो साइकिल आएगा ना
क्यों ये तेरे को पूरा घुमा के लेके जाएगा
नहीं काची
मैं घूमने के लिए मैं घूम सकता हूं
नहीं
तू क्यों नहीं आता अच्छा
मन नहीं करता
हाँ पहले पहले करते थे ना
क्या करना है
साइकिल ये मैं और काटे और कोई
नहीं आना कुछ नहीं ने सुना मारे
क्यों नहीं
मारे
क्यों क्या
ये मेरे को बोला नहीं मारे
मारा एक्चुअली मारा
क्यों नहीं मारा?
तो ये क्यों बोलते हैं
6 स्टैंडर्ड में सीधा मतलब जो 6 स्टैंडर्ड में ना कॉरिडोर के बीच में इसमें चैंपियन
झूठ बोल रहा है ये
नहीं मेरे को याद नहीं बोला
नहीं नहीं सच्ची नहीं मारा
अरे मारा है
मुझे क्यों नहीं याद फिर
तीसरे दूसरे
फालतू लोग लगाते हैं ए छोड़ दे ये क्या हो गया
कोई accusation
छह बजे होना है 20 मिनट का पास 5 मिनट से Bob the Building नहीं क्या है वो फ्रेंड सॉन्ग
Bob the Builder. Bob the Builder.
Continue. Now, what I was talking about is, what was the last question that you had written?
We have to start with this thing about prevention.
Okay. Now, we are already done with diseases, preventive measures. Okay, what are some of the common preventive measures? Here, vaccination is one, and then proper sanitation, cleaning. So the common processes that we talk about whenever we are talking about maintaining proper, now even for the cattle, the sheds of the cattle should have a proper arrangement. Now the cattle, when we are talking about, should we just keep the cattle as it is in the shed? There are certain maintenance measures that has to be maintained. Number one, the floor where the shed is, the shed of the cattle should always have a slopy floor, enough ventilation should be there, and not a particular number, more than something around 10 or 15 of those cattle should not be kept at the same stable, at the same shed. So there are some typical measures to understand. Even for the birds, a typical number only, like to say, suppose at the same time, 30, 35 birds only can be kept at one shed, not more than that. Overcrowding should not be there. You can sit separate, no? Why you have to fall on him? Huh? There's enough space, no? This batch is really an indigenous batch it is.
हम इंडियन से तो है
हाँ,
इंडियन
इस तरफ आ जाओ, आराम से बैठो.
मैं पीछे आ रहा हूँ
Keep the bag in between.
washing
I don't know, in this 9th standard, you all are like this. By the time you go to 10, you are going to be a big reason for headache.
क्या बोल रहा है वाशी पड़ा
हाँ
Yes, why? You want to come to Vashi now?
ठीक है मैं भी आता फिर
मैं सलमान और अदित्य कैसे
अरमान तो वैसे ही करता है ना
कैसे
Very good.
अच्छा और उसका फोन नहीं आता दे दे वैसे इसलिए अच्छा
Now, chalo. Now, when they
उसका फोन ले लिया उसको दे देती है
फोन ले लिया
अब मैम ने नहीं
is this the class to talk about all these?
Mami, what is this behavior?
Chalo. Now, write the next question there. First of all, you.
खराब हो गया
Huh? You?
कुछ तो हो गया
Right now, yes.
हो गया
The psychiatrist.
Because I'm just trying to understand.
अच्छा हमारी वजह से हो गया
Obviously. Number one.
क्वेश्चन
See this question there. First of all, you read this question, and after that, I'll ask you one. Give reason to write on this. Read this question. Can you see this question there? discuss the implication, and under that it's written, it is interesting to note that poultry is India's most efficient converter, underline that sentence. India's efficient converter of low fiber food to highly nutritious animal protein food. So you get the same concept in the form of a give reason question. Justify why poultry is considered to be a converter. Poultry is considered to be a converter of low fiber food to a high protein content food. High protein content food. So what is the meaning of this? The poultry feeds on diet which is low protein. No, the diet is low protein. Just few grains, some rice, some broken cereals, only that. And what type of feed it, or what type of products it give rise to? Eggs, flesh, high in protein. Read this answer, and after that I'll give you 1 or 2 questions on this only. But take this answer, you get this question as it is in the paper for 2 marks. Take this question and read the answer. Tell me if you have understood this. It's the same thing that I've explained you just now. देखो समझ में आ रहा है कि नहीं? If you have to clarify, read. I want all of you to read. I'll give you 2-3 minutes time. Read. Done. Are you reading? Under that, you write on the first question based on that concept that poultry is a. The first question under that you write. First question under that you write. What is the most common feed of poultry? Write on the first question under that. What is the most common feed of poultry? What is the most common feed of poultry? That's your problem. What is the most common feed of poultry? What is the most common feed of poultry? And number 2. The answer is all in this question only. Is यहाँ पे ही answer है. That's why I told you read. Then I'm going to give you 2 questions.
This last question में मजा आ रहा है.
हाँ? Obviously, ऐसे students को पढ़ाने के लिए बहुत tolerance की जरूरत है. Now, number 1, the first question is, what I said, what is the first question I gave you? I gave the first question is,
Common feed of food.
what is the common feed of poultry? The answer you will find in this answer only. And the next question, take 2 lines gap and write on the next question. Write on the next question. Write on the next question. What type of nutrients are present? What type of nutrients are present in the eggs? What type of nutrients are present in the eggs of poultry? The eggs of poultry. Therefore, I'll give you 2 minutes time, 2-3 minutes time. Answer is all complete in this paragraph only. The answer is fully there in the paragraph.
What type of nutrients are present?
Lekho.
Present
In the feed of poultry, food can also be termed as feed. In the feed of poultry. Dekha answer? Did you get the answer there? What type of nutrients are there in the feed of poultry? What are you supposed to write? The poultry feed consists of, see there, the poultry feed consists of cracked grains of wheat, rice, barley, jowar, bajra, etc. and a bone meal, waste, meat meal, etc. Can you see this? Only that much you'll have to write. Fast, write it down. That much only you'll have to write. Write it down. Only that much is the first answer. That much is the first answer. Likho. Complete that. Then we'll write down the answer for the second. What type of nutrients are present in the egg? Eggs contain 36% yolk, 64% proteins. 36% yolk, 64% proteins. लिखो.
Bone meal or bone meal?
Bone meal means the crushed, semi-partially crushed bones.
बोन के अंदर भी होता है ना, क्या बोलते हैं?
Marrow.
उसको भी खाते हैं ना?
उसको खाते हैं मतलब that is as it is a part of the bone meal. No?
64% proteins तक ही बस.
हाँ. What is the nutritive level of the eggs? After that, look into that table there. Can you see there's a table difference between layers and broilers? That table is very, very important.
Yolk में protein है होता.
No, yolk is basically fats. No, when you talk
Fat और brain के लिए शायद कुछ होता
that is good for brain, skin, everything, eyes, everything. But that is basically fat, and the white part that's majorly the albumin part, the protein part. That's pura protein. And the yolk part is protein and most of it is fat. Did you write down the answer? Show me, come here. Show me that you have written down the answer. Both the answers you have done. Teaching you in the 10th standard will be a big pain. Big pain it will be. Now, differences between the layers and broilers. Take the table there. Differences between the layers and broilers. Now, what is the difference? Layers means what? What did I tell you? Layers means what? Layers means the ones which are very good in production of eggs, forming eggs. Now, very good means what? You know, all birds are laying eggs. What is good about it? All birds are laying eggs. Number one, when I say a bird type is good in releasing eggs, meaning the time taken for maturation or the maturity of the egg should be very short time. I talk about two varieties of birds. One type of a bird takes almost about 3 weeks for egg maturation, and the other takes almost about 2 weeks. So which is a good variety? The one which takes 2 weeks. So for the breeder will always choose the one which has got a shorter duration for egg maturation. So that was the point we studied also earlier. So this is one. Again, I talk about two varieties. One takes almost 2.5 weeks for egg maturation, but then the eggs are high in nutrition. What about the other type? The other type takes just 2 weeks, but the pehle variety se kam. I said the pehle variety takes 2.5. The second variety takes 2 weeks, but the eggs are not that nutritive. Now, those of you are aware about the egg quality. Those of you are non-vegetarians, again, little bit you have that idea that the type of eggs also that we eat would be something like some are eggs also actually are branded, you know. So there are certain type of eggs which are actually quite good in protein and this, and there are certain qualities, certain types of eggs not that very good in quality, and price also differs. So now that we are talking about, I said, what would be some very good characteristics of this poultry? Short duration में more number of eggs देना है, egg maturity time कम होना है, the birds should not be affected by diseases so much. Next, the type of the feed एकदम cheap होना चाहिए, मतलब very low cost food, but then high cost products होना चाहिए. Then such type of birds the breeder is going to keep on growing. If the bird is did we ever understand that elephants and camels are basically used in the entire process of farming? No, because they are always high cost maintenance. Maintaining an animal, maintaining a camel, such type of animals, high cost. So that's the reason we never come across any type of processes used here. No. Now look at the next table there. Differences between layers and broilers. Layers and broilers. There you go. Layers, egg-laying forms. Broilers. What are broilers? Birds which are used for flesh, meat.
Adequate amount of.
Come to the second point. What is the second point you are supposed to remember? Layers start producing eggs much earlier. They start producing eggs at the age of 20 weeks. Quite young. The chicks are quite small at the time. And I'll come to you next. Now, broiler, they start laying eggs 6 to 7 weeks. So broilers, when we are talking about broilers, are laying eggs 6 to 7 weeks, and here we are talking about 20 weeks. There's a big difference. Third point.
तुम्हें 20 week लगता है egg को?
हाँ?
Egg produce होना start
होने के लिए 20 weeks.
और 6 week में ही मार सकते हैं.
And some are 6 to 7 weeks. But then when you talk about 6 to 7 weeks, I'm talking about the broilers. The quality is not that very good.
6 to 7 weeks.
The quality is not that very good. Not that only we have to talk about the time and the quality, everything. Come to the third point. They require enough space and adequate light. Meaning light here means wherever you are keeping them, the adequate temperature बहुत जरूरी है. थोड़ा बहुत temperature high low होगा, the birds will not be in the process of laying eggs, and the birds may also fall prey to different type of diseases. ये है. And adequate amount of sunlight, and the place should be very clean. All these things are also there. Very, very sensitive to infection they are. And what about the broiler? They have low mortality. So when we talk about the broilers have low mortality. So in certain cases, we also come across that they can be resisting certain infection. Last point, go to the next page, layers and broilers. The layers, they need restricted and circulated feed with high amount of vitamins, micronutrient. Do you remember one? Can you give me one example of macronutrient? कौन बता सकता है? Macronutrient. Macro and one micro. चलो, one macro and one micro. Give me an example. One example of macro. Nobody. One example of macro. If I talk about calcium, phosphorus, nitrogen, these are all macro. Micro, iron, then zinc and molybdenum, manganese. All these are micro. So now straight away we move into the broiler part. So the broilers basically are requiring protein and vitamin. Which two types of vitamin? A and K. Underline that. That's very, very important. Which types of vitamin they require? Vitamin A and K. Yes.
Like other than boiled, there is black and some colored, red colored.
That's the same thing. The
Chicken.
typical domestic variety.
Like convert egg into a chick.
How much time? It's just 48 hours.
Convert egg into a chick.
Completely matured egg to start the process of hatching. 48 hours. Less than 48 hours, in fact. Less than 48 hours.
Let's say 48 hours body.
Within the period of 48 hours. Kabhi kabar just at the end of a day. Within 24 hours. After 24 hours, the process of hatching will start.
Egg निकल जाता है तो उसको ले लेते हैं.
Meaning? No, not that. When you talk about the fertilizer, today we are not at all talking about consumption, the type of eggs that we consume. These are not fertilized eggs at all. These are unfertilized eggs. So there is no concept of converting them into chick. You can keep those eggs even for 1 month. Nothing will happen.
Non-fertilized egg
So when you are talking about fertilized eggs, and now the ones that we are talking about in the farm getting formed. क्यों हो जाएगा? So what? No. You are talking about consuming a fertilized egg. If not consumed and you keep it at room temperature, it will hatch and give rise to an animal, the chick. Unfertilized egg, 2-3 days, 5 days, 7 days. Hatch to hoga hi nahi. There's no question of hatching at all because unfertilized nahi hai. That is just the yolk. You can keep it in your kitchen slab or in the fridge kitchen, maybe if you are keeping it even for 7 days. No concept of hatching because there is no process of growth or animal developing inside. The bird is not developing inside. So unfertilized, when you talk, that is what is in commercial market that is available. The commercial market that we are talking about, the eggs are all non-unfertilized. That's not fertilized at all. Huh? Unfertilized. Unfertilized again in the entire process of farming. In the entire process of farming, the male cells are introduced into the female body, but this would be generally not allowing the process of fertilization much happening. Before the process of fertilization only they are taken out. The eggs which are formed in the female body, partially when they are formed and they are taken out. There are processes to this. But normally if I talk about after the process of fertilization in the female body, now it releases and it allows the warmth for the process of hatching. If that is what is happening, then that is what we understand as fertilized. But in the farms and all these processes are not happening. In the female body, the cells are developing without fertilization, just with some hormones, and artificially the eggs are getting formed. So that will not at all hatch into a chick at all. Now we next talk about fish farming. Now here's just 3-4 things are very, very important in this section of the chapter. Fish farming. What are some of the important differences, terms to talk about? Now, the third section of the chapter that we talk about would be after cattle farming, poultry farming. Now we talk about fish farming, and here also we are going to come across some methods. Here in case of fish farming, methods are important for you. So we now talk about fish farming here. There's a specific word how we can define fish farming, and this is known as pisciculture. Underline this word. What is pisciculture? Pisciculture is the process of breeding and caring a whole lot of aquatic organisms later. So when we are talking about pisciculture, underline that word. Did you see that word there? Pisciculture, underline karo. What is pisciculture? The entire process of farming, breeding, caring, and allowing the process of growth of the aquatic organisms. Now, am I only talking about fishes here? Though the concept is fish farming, but here we are not actually talking about fishes. Here we are also talking about fishes, we are talking about crabs, lobsters, we are talking about snails, we are talking about all the different type of aquatic organisms. All will come under this category, pisciculture. 2 types of fish farming. Can you see this word? Let us understand now. 2 types of fish farming. Underline. Keep underlining. 2 types of fish farming. What is known as capture farming? What is known as capture farming and what is known as culture farming? Let us try understanding the difference between this. Capture farming and culture farming. A 9th standard student, little bit of good manners is expected. Now, when we are talking about capture farming, what is the meaning of capture farming? Capture farming is not done in the sea, ocean, pond, lake. No, capture farming. Capture farming. Capture farming means you are confining a small amount of the water body, and there you are allowing the organisms grow. Capture farming. Culture farming in the water body itself. In some few locations in the sea and the pond and the lake and the river. If that is so, you are doing it in the water body, then that is culture farming. Underline these 2 words in your book. Capture farming, culture farming. So that's a basic difference you are asked also in the paper. Now, next is we talk about marine fishes. Now, again, if I have to talk about fishes, this concept of pisciculture can be divided into 2 heads. What are the 2 heads? I will talk about freshwater fishes. Can you tell me what is the meaning of freshwater? Freshwater means what?
Ocean, river water.
Freshwater meaning lake, pond, river, estuary. These are all freshwaters. No, water which have got low concentration of salt. Freshwater. And what is the meaning of marine water?
Salt water.
Sea, ocean.
Ocean water.
Sea, ocean.
Salt is
High concentration of salt. Are the type of fishes and organisms same?
No.
The type of fishes you get in the sea, are you going to get them in the river also? Not at all. The type of fishes you get in the lake and the pond, are you going to get them in the ocean also? No. Absolutely different there. Different types altogether. Fine. Keep reading.
वो सुई मैंने पढ़ा ही क्या
और एक हार्ट ऐड करके आना चाहिए।
हाँ अभी इसमें अंदर से नहीं जा
दो बजे
I asked you to read, no? Can't you read?
Sorry, so
हाँ?
physical कोई भी कुछ तो बोल कर सारा sorry
हाँ?
सचना तो इसकी choice थी ना
Stupidity and stupidity and stupidity in this batch. इससे ज्यादा तो और आगे तुम लोग बढ़ोगे कभी? Right from the first lecture वही चलते आ रहे हो। हाँ, when are you going to become bit better? हम सब टीचर्स रुके थे कि दिस बैच कभी तो थोड़ा थोड़ा धीरे जाते जाते नाउ ऑलमोस्ट यू आर रीचिंग 10th। हम तो अभी तो हम लोग डर रहे 10th में ये बिहेवियर रहेगा तो एक तो सिलेबस तुम लोग को समझाना मुश्किल है, डिफिकल्ट। तुम लोग से ज्यादा हम लोग डर रहे हैं, तुम लोग क्या डरोगे ना। चलो, मरीन फिशेस, व्हेन वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट मरीन फिशेस, तुम लोगों में ना तो you should be very interested on your part. Biology है, chemistry है, physics है, maths है.
favorite subject
You should be having the tendency to learn, ask, nothing. तुम लोग, I don't know what type of, there is no interest in any subject. It's not only biology, it's not only maths, it's story वो रामायण महाभारत हर जगह सेम है। See that you all improve. तुम लोगों की परफॉर्मेंस भी बहुत disastrous है। Performance is also disastrous except for these two. So performance भी तो up to the mark नहीं है ना। So see that I'm repeatedly telling you. I think other teachers are also telling you. Is it only me I'm telling you this? बाकी teachers are saying the same thing or different? कुछ नहीं बोलते? हाँ। So wake up, wake up, wake up.
wake up Surya क्या this marbles
इफेक्ट चाहे कुछ भी हो, अभी इसके आगे जो उसका 10th का इफेक्ट लगने वाला है वो तो तुम लोग को समझ में भी नहीं आ रहा।
80 में से इसको 53 मिला, पता नहीं कैसे, इससे ज्यादा किससे मिला है
वो फ्रेंच में मिलके उसको करना क्या है, फ्रेंच में मिलके करना क्या है उसको। हाँ
ये फेल हो गया स्टैट्स में
ऑब्वियसली।
ये दोनों
मैं पास हो मैं पास हो मेरे में 3-4 तो मेरे
जस्ट थिंक अबाउट योर पेरेंट्स। स्कूल है, स्कूल के बाद तुम लोग को यहाँ पे भेज रहे हैं, उसके बाद अगर रीचेक पे तुम लोग नौबत आया है तो जस्ट थिंक अबाउट योर पेरेंट्स। अच्छा
पूरा 11 मैं तो 6-7 बार में चेक ही नहीं किया, ऐसे ही दे दिया।
अच्छा
हाँ नीचे को डाला है उन्होंने।
आपको लेके देते पेपर, आप चेक करो।
अच्छा, और यहाँ के टेस्ट में कैसे कर रहे हो वो तो बताओ।
यहाँ के टेस्ट में एक्सीलेंस
ये हमेशा याद रखो, स्कूल के बाद यहाँ पे आ रहे हो, extra time you are reading, you are supposed to read, your parents are spending so much for you, so should you do little bit of hard work? हाँ कि ना, ये सोचो, खाली give me that answer, should you do little bit of more hard work? और अभी 9 से जो अभी 10th में जा रहे हो, I am giving you that introduction. 10th में जब जाओगे, you have to be serious enough. नहीं तो पढ़ाई तुमको समझ में ही नहीं आने वाला है। बायोलॉजी, फिजिक्स, केमिस्ट्री सब तो ऊपर से जाने वाला है। फिर ऐसे करते रहोगे, 3 महीना चला गया, 4 महीना चला गया, अभी सी द 10th बैच, दे वर सो सीरियस, फिर भी some students are not able to get good marks. वो एक बार आके सबसे मिलके जाना। So be serious, I'm seriously telling you, be serious. 10th का 9th का क्वेश्चन तो कुछ भी नहीं है।
10th में बोर्ड भी नहीं है साइबर। ये सुना
अच्छा
है ना, हमें 10th तो नहीं है, अगले साल नहीं है हमें, ये आया बोर्ड नहीं हमें आया कौन
लेट्स गो।
हिंदी का वो
बहुत इजी है।
स्टैटिस्टिक्स
स्टैटिस्टिक्स के ग्राफ बनाना है। तुम्हें को पहले बता देखो पेपर नहीं क्या था
अरे ना वो उसमें
ये मोबाइल में खुलता नहीं कैसे अरे पॉप द विंडर में किया तो लिखिए पॉप